and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
60 minutes in, you get a little unexpected Bill Murray cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Warms the cockles.
Yeah,
That's like Mike Dean refereeing a
Who's
football match.
agree
the
with that.
dentist out of Django Unchained?
I can't remember.
What,
I've seen
Christopher
it.
Waltz.
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph
Waltz.
Like, you know what you're going to get for him.
Yeah.
He's an excellent actor, but you only ever plays one actor.
That's fine.
You only ever plays
Plays
one
one
role.
character.
So,
yeah.
So you know what you're going to get. But you're still pleased he's there.
Yeah, but in the
So
same
Mike
way...
Dean is Christoph Waltz crossed with Bill Murray.
Well, and I'd like to chuck in Iron Robin as well. You know what you're going to get. It's hard to shoot, but bloody hell, it's won him trophies. Oi, trophies.
Trophies,
He's like,
mate.
apart from the trophies bit, he's like the football ramble. You know what you're going to get. It's always the same.
They never knew they were going to get a mention of Bill Murray.
But Chelsea
There we
fans will
are.
be delighted that we've got this many minutes in and not talked about how bad they were.
It's
so.
a massive win for Manchester. It shows they mean business, Jim.
That first 10 minutes was exhilarating. Manchester City came out with such ferocity.
Will the game be remembered for that Aguero miss?
No.
Well, this is a funny thing of how football works, isn't it?
Well, last week I was saying he was so reliable.
yeah.
Well, he did go on to score a hat-trick, Peter.
Yeah, but but that is a good example of a footballer not being reliable.
I love
You've got-
it. He's
So,
so...
come on, though. That is a tap-in from like 2 yards out.
Yes,
That's
and
a
I
fair
feel
point.
he made up for it somewhat.
Yes,
I
he did.
agree, but Pete is right to chastise him.
Okay,
the
Aguero is a
the
human
past-
being. We've established it.
The coverage of football is such that if that game was 0-0, that Aguero miss is making it onto a load of those Twitter compilations.
Yeah.
If Danny Baker was still doing his own goals and gaffes, it'd be on that. Because they won 6-0, and as Marcus rightly said, he's made up for it with a stellar hat-trick. And he hit the bar as well, by the way.
Yeah.
That'll never be talked about again after this show.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it because we're diligent.
Exactly. If nothing else.
We tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
But that's why you've got to look at everything in context, of course.
It was like Guardiola had said to his team, just try and win this in the first 10. Like, they
Seconds.
just absolutely flew
They
out.
pretty much had to be.
Weirdly enough, the first couple of minutes, Chelsea looked okay. They did. They looked all right. They looked okay.
Well,
Up
at
to-
4
up to a very distinct point.
At 4-0 in the WhatsApp group, I did say maybe a draw might happen.
But you had a bet on the draw at 4-4.
You were remembering
And I
Newcastle
replied-
Arsenal.
I replied on behalf of everyone saying you're an idiot.
on the Sky Sports app, when they're doing the minute by minute, when the third goal went in, the text they had said simply, Ross Barkley. Oh dear.
It was
That was Paul.
that was.
wasn't it?
I mean, you have to say, other than the fact that I suppose he's picked Ross Barkley in that position and asked him to perform a role that, along with a lot of other players, they don't look comfortable with yet. You can't really blame the coach for that. I mean, that's basics. You don't want to be heading the ball. That's unless you're gonna. I mean, really, it's hard to really sort of work out what he was doing. If the ball's coming to you in that way and you're facing your own goal, head it out to the left or the right. I mean,
And also with Aguero lurking in the box, it's like going, I'm just going to leave my steak over here by this lion.
Yeah,
I'm sure everything
yeah.
will be fine.
yeah,
Matt.
I've even seasoned it.
Yeah, I mean, can we blame Sarri for not shaking Pep Guardiola's hand?
Pep didn't seem to mind it, and Pep was very classy afterwards.
He was, yeah.
I thought this was a telling quote from him afterwards. He said, "People don't understand how difficult the first year can be. People need time. It needs owners to really believe in it. The main reason I came to Manchester City is because I don't have to convince Chiki, who means Bajiristan. He knows me, and I think
that's a good point. That
and I think it's an interesting. I think it's interesting who said that, not just because he's the coach of the other team, but because someone else who's got a very distinctive playing style, and he's never going to change Guardiola. And the reason we don't question that is obviously because he's successful. People used to say it about him, didn't they? Oh, has he got a plan B? And there was talk about him signing Zlatan at Barcelona, etc. But the point I was going to make is just that the only thing you could sort of say in mitigation for Sarri and for Chelsea at the moment is just that they didn't lay the groundwork for him. They didn't even give him a proper pre-season because of all that stuff that went on with Conte, and so maybe there is an argument to say that he needs to be given time to get it going and to get people to understand it. But of course, the problem is there's actually a season happening at the same time, and if they keep losing games and they drop out of Europe altogether,
they finish sixth. Will he be there in the summer? And especially with N'Golo Kante, who's played so well, is not playing. A lot of chat about that position. And
it seems so crazy that they've got a cup final coming up.
Yeah.
Well, against
They've
Man
got
City.
a lot of heavy fixtures, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, if they can win that cup final, and there is a chance, but it was their biggest ever defeat in the Premier League.
Well,
They're in sixth, and it seems to be going bad to worse. You've been very critical of Sarri, Luke, and I understand that, and I understand why Guardiola's coming out, because Guardiola loved Sarri's Napoli side as well.
And you can see they're not playing the same as Napoli play. Look,
No,
if Sarri is the manager that we saw him with the football he achieved at Napoli, if he is that manager, then we are not seeing that at Chelsea, and we're not seeing anywhere near it.
He's probably not signed enough players for that system. If that's the problem, Guardiola's given untold riches. He signs loads and loads of players, and if you've got the money, then of course he's going to do
But
that.
they also prepared the ground for a long time beforehand. It was like the biggest open secret in football for ages.
Sure. So from going from Antonio Conte with largely the same group of players to now Sarri's system, which is distinctly different, is very difficult. But Sarri isn't getting enough of a tune out of those players quite clearly. And it was so evident. I mean, Manchester City, it was night and day. I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, the reverberations of that result will be felt in Liverpool. The way Guardiola set them out, it was kind of like, right, Liverpool think they've beaten Bournemouth 3-0. Oh, everything's all fine and dandy at home now. And they were good and they kind of blew them away. Let's go out and we'll show them that we are going to be breathing down their necks the whole time here. And, well, I mean, they're top of the league now, Manchester City, obviously, with the game in hand. But they were spectacularly good. And really, that shows you that they are, on their day, the best team in the league.
Well, Liverpool get their chance to have a go at Chelsea at their own ground in April, I think.
Yep.
I think they play at Anfield in April, so maybe they can better it.
Maybe they
but,
can.
But the thing is, it's not like I don't want to give Man City credit, but I feel like watching that game, I didn't feel like they had to be that good.
No.
It felt to me that they crowd and hassle Jorginho, and a lot's been made of him so far this season. And perhaps
Seems to be the thing to do. And
perhaps it's a little bit unfair on him because he can't be expected to do it all himself, and I know he's almost an ambassador for this Sarrissimo type football, but also just exploit the massive gaps that are left in midfield. And Jamie Redknapp made a point during the game, and of course, Sarri's never going to do this, but he said, just tell Kante to sit in there. Why aren't the players on the pitch saying, listen, it's 25 minutes in, we're 4-0 down. You come and sit in here with me, and we'll just ride this out till half time. Let's just stem the flow. But it seems to be that in this particular system, the players have to buy into it to such a degree that it's almost like they become replicants and they can't think of it for themselves. And that could really harm them. And the reason it will harm them is because, look, Scolari went in February in 2009. Villas-Boas went in March 2012. There is precedent here for managers to be fired at this time of year at Chelsea in their first season. And if that happens, they've just set themselves back another 6, 7, 8 months. Spurs, it's Liverpool obviously, but Spurs as well. They're both. So Spurs, despite what they have achieved over the last couple of years, they've gone again. Literally, they've done a Steven Gerrard. We go again. Yeah. And they're I mean, if they get their best points total since whatever it is, 61 or whatever, I can't remember what it is, and still come third, I'll feel quite sorry for them.
I think actually, going back to what you were saying about Liverpool, Marcus, how it suits them to be chasing. I think what Spurs would need to happen would be for City and Liverpool to sort of get in each other's heads and mess it up. And Spurs, I think they'd have to edge in the last couple of games
definitely.
for it to happen. But they're going about making that a possibility.
But at the very least, they're looking like kingmakers now.
Because we say that about a lot of teams. Wolves apparently were touted as kingmakers the other week on this show.
It's a good word, isn't it?
It's a good word.
Yeah, it is.
I think Spurs actually are kingmakers emeritus because they go to Anfield. They go to the Etihad. They're going to be absolutely key games. If Spurs have got 4 really quite tough games to go,
they do.
Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, Man City away,
and they've got Dortmund as well, which will Dortmund
possibly tire them.
Running after Jadon Sancho will take it after.
True.
After them. I know Spurs have got quick players as well.
The Pochmaster General should be saying to his team, if you win those 4 games, you'll be Premier League champions.
Yeah,
that's how what the motivation should be.
4 cup fight. Oh no, because they can't win trophies. 4 league games. They've got 4 league games.
They'll lose every single one of them. You know
that. Hugo Lloris with a big save against Jamie Vardy, who just came on. He did a Mitrovic.
Yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
don't do that. Don't do that unless it's Ronald Koeman. Don't have someone come on and take a penalty.
Can I say I have no problem with it?
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Let me tell you why.
Tell me, bruv Nick.
Maddison's missed penalties this season.
Yeah.
I think Vardy has scored his last 7 in a row.
Did he?
And he is the team's penalty taker.
But then they should have learnt from Mitrovic, though.
Does it not?
It's an easy start for you as you come on. Right? First thing you got to do is score a pen.
But does it not? Yeah, but does it not kind of like you're only ever going to lose, really? because you're expected to
because
score.
he could score the goal, couldn't he? And
You're
they'd be-
expected to score, and then you're like, well, and the manager loses by bringing him on, and he does it. If he misses it, he loses a bit of confidence. I mean, he ended up scoring in the end, so well done him. But
But what do you mean he can only use? What
can
happens,
only lose.
What happens if he scores it?
If you score,
well, no, he's just like, well, that was expected to happen.
No, I think whenever
he
you
loses,
score a goal,
confidence out.
you always win when you score a goal, Peter.
Yeah.
You
Even if it's a
always
little-
win when you score a goal.
Yeah,
What about an own goal? Oh, subversion.
It's very true. I've been done. Christian Eriksen was excellent, wasn't he? Provided
he was.
that corner routine was interesting, if you can call it a routine. Trippier cutting it way back.
Yeah.
And then a
I
lovely.
think you can
whip
call
ball
it a
in.
routine.
Let's call it a routine.
Yeah.
A routine is only a routine if at the end you go routine.
Whoa. Yeah, true.
And also, if you get bored of the routine, you need to sing the We Three song. What do you mean we need a break from the old routine?
Yes.
Right.
Remember that one well.
Oh, lovely old
Would
job.
have been.
91?
I was going to go earlier than that.
Would
I was
you?
going to say possibly. No, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
I have no
email in
idea
and tell
what
us.
you're
We
talking
don't
about.
have
It's a
any
tune.
tools to find out.
It's a tune.
But it was a great ball and a great header. Wonderful for Sanchez. Lovely old job.
Well, this is a game that hinged on some key moments, wasn't it? Because you had Spurs were 1-0 up.
Yep.
Then Leicester were given this penalty, which I thought was I've got no sympathy for a referee. Do you know what? Let me tell you something now. I've got no sympathy for a referee if from another angle that he can't have possibly seen,
It's
it's a pen.
Yeah, I know what you
because
mean.
I don't think he was sure it was a pen.
I think, but the problem
He
was
can't
there was
have been from that angle.
it was a bit of pinball, wasn't
Exactly.
it? And it was a few slides and a bit. Oh,
Couple
could
of
that,
chompies,
he
yeah.
got away with that.
The last
I
one,
think that one.
The last bit was like, yeah, probably.
Danny Rose came in and did the equivalent of walking at a dinner party and just throwing the table upside down by sliding from out of the shot at like 100 miles an hour and confusing everyone. And I think the referee had like a hard reset and gave a pen. And from one angle, it did definitely look like one, but it was an angle the referee couldn't see. Of course, they then missed the penalty and Spurs got up the other end and score.
Yeah,
and
huge.
And then you think the game's done. Of course, then Vardy scores and whatever happens. But it hinged on a few key events. And, you know, again, if it wasn't for this mad season we're seeing, you think, do you know what? The way Spurs are getting through games these last 4 or 5 weeks.
Without two of their crucial players.
It's latter stage Ferguson, Man United.
Yeah, you
isn't
think
it? They're
name on
just kind of
trophy,
like-
name on
just
trophy.
Name
ugly.
on trophy.
Well, just winning ugly. That bit at the end where Son went through, and he's probably not the quickest player when it comes to. They've got a couple of decent players at the back, Leicester, and you sort of go, oh, I thought he was genuinely going to get caught, but
Son
he
doesn't-
is so money.
He doesn't struggle for pace.
He doesn't
No.
struggle for pace, but he's
He
not the
should-
quickest
he's-
player. He doesn't use it as much as you would imagine.
I think he's like confusingly fast. You never think of him
Yeah.
as being fast. You also never see him being linked. This is where I wonder whether the whole. I mean, it probably is, but the whole of football is just so like the forces that drive football forward off the pitch.
Mhm.
You think, everyone's in there to make a pound note and all the rest of it. And the reason you think that is because no one ever links someone to move. So it must be
Yeah.
to me if you're a solid, loyal guy and you've got a decent agent,
Yeah.
and there are plenty of those around.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You never get linked because
yeah,
you're
I
happy
know
where
what
you
you
are
mean. Yeah,
and you
yeah.
just get on with it. And Son, for all the quality he's shown and for all the important goals he's scored, he's
Yeah.
got about 9 goals in the last
He
9
is a
games
big-
at the top level.
Big game player, isn't he? as
Big
well?
game player, never gets linked with the move away.
Just dependable. But I did think he was going to get caught. If there was another few yards, I thought he was going to get caught. But he just finished so well. It's like, I
True,
love
yeah.
Son.
I find Leicester an interesting side. Lost 4 of the last 5. Every week, more pressure on Claude Puel. Yet they would have gone away from that feeling they should have got a
Marcus,
result.
Yeah.
I have to say, I feel like I say this every week. I cannot see what Leicester City fans are complaining about so virulently.
But it's the
because-
results, isn't it?
Fine. Well, it may be, but they've had some hallmark positive results this season.
Yeah.
Half time in that game, and maybe Leicester fans are, well, that's the problem, we got beat. But half time in that game, I was looking forward to the second half.
Yeah.
Leicester are well in this. They played okay.
And
It's 1-0. They've got a chance here.
Mhm.
And of course, eventually Spurs get away with it. And they did get away with it because of those few minutes in the middle of the second half. I thought they looked okay. I thought Tielemans looked good.
Well, that's a good signing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
great
great
end of the
signing.
season.
But he seems to have settled in straight away.
It just to me, it would be frustrating being a Leicester fan because you think to yourselves, we should be, as we talk about the best of the rest, they should be getting results like Wolves are or something like that. Because when Leicester play against one of the big sides, you know they're not going to get hammered. Maybe they have done this season off the top of my head, I can't think. So forgive me if that's not true. But do you know what I mean? You think to yourselves, they can go and give Spurs, Chelsea, Man City, and the like, Liverpool, a good game, and which they have done. But yet, there seems to be something lacking. And I think it is they're not putting away the teams that they're clearly better than.
Well, I think, last 5 or 6 games, they've been beaten by Newport, of course, which isn't great. They narrowly lost to Wolves. They were beaten at home by Southampton. But then at the same time, they narrowly were beaten by Man United. That game yesterday, they weren't bad. They drew against Liverpool. And then, over Christmas, I mean, they beat They drew with Man City in the cup, and they beat Chelsea, and then beat Man City in the league. So they are capable.
Well, I think
kingmakers.
Kingmakers, King Power Makers.
But I think, though, one of the things I find absolutely fascinating about Leicester, if you go back all the way to when they first got promoted, when they played that incredible football that they then replicated a couple of years later under Nigel Pearson to get promoted, then they had the great escape, then they won the league. Then they were in the Champions League, while sort of also
they're bored of this
dicing with a relegation battle. That's it. It's never boring at Leicester until now, when it is.
True.
And maybe they're just like, no, this means the party's over.
I think we should ask a Leicester City fan to email in to show@thefootballramble.com. Pete will read the email out. Give us a very comprehensive missive about why you don't like Claude Puel and you're not happy at Leicester.
Indeed.
I mean, that may not be the case for all of them, though. Perhaps that is a broad generalisation. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Cardiff City, Peter, you want to talk about them? They beat Southampton. A big win. Big wins.
Raf, big Winnie style.
Raf Hasenhüttl said it was stupid that his side conceded so late on. He was very annoyed with his side. He said, we have rolled a big stone in our way now.
Roll away your stone, I'll roll away mine.
Bit of Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons.
Still find them.
Angry words from the governor.
Which sounds like a Roman centurion, doesn't it? In biblical times, rolling a stone in the way. But yes, they have to work on it to remove it mentally and physically. He says we have 2 weeks with no game, so for the next 2 weeks, the result is in our mind. We'll get it out of there, Raf.
Yeah.
It's your job. Or Ralph, should I say. It's the most horrible situation you could imagine. It's a disaster. Now, if you're a Southampton player, you don't want your manager saying that.
Well, I mean, he sort of says that, I'm annoyed that we conceded so late. I mean, you scored really late as well.
So that would he should still be annoyed, shouldn't he, Peter?
So that's a positive, but coming on and scoring a penalty.
So he should say, well, we scored late, therefore we conceded late. That's
exactly.
It was only fair.
Score earlier.
Is that what you've been waiting to say?
We enjoyed it, and we thought they should have a chance to enjoy it.
Bill Fark said after the match, Fark looks like something at a Street Fighter.
Yeah,
I find a bit. He
that,
could be a bit tasty. He says, "My feeling is you can lose a game but show a bit of class." I think 95% of Ipswich's staff did this, but not all of them. 95%. I'd say that's not a bad rate.
He did also make the point that Paul Lambert is still a hero in Germany.
He did. Well, Paul Lambert said, "I saw one of them lads come in. Am I supposed to stand back and watch one of my lads get bullied? I'm not going to do that."
Do you know what Daniel Farke looks like to me? He looks like the evolution of a Pokemon from Klopp through to Wagner through to Farke.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Norwich are having a lovely old time, aren't they?
I think Ipswich defensively are quite poor.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Back that up with evidence.
Well, I'll give you just a smidgen of evidence.
Okay.
We haven't got all day for all the evidence. The prosecution must rest at some point. I think it was 4 minutes in against Norwich. They conceded their first goal in a derby game. Fans probably been looking forward to it all season. Well, for here's our chance to actually do something. Yeah. But fans get up for that regardless. And the amount of space in the penalty area for the Norwich forwards, 4 minutes into a game. There's not really an excuse for that.
No comeback from that.
If you are a defensive unit and you've battled it for a 0-0 and they're a better team than you and it's 10 minutes to go and they've just brought on Adama Traore or someone else who's really fast. I know Adama Traore doesn't play for them, but it's an example.
Mark Overmars.
Yeah.
Steve Cram.
And you get Steve
Sonic
Cram.
the Hedgehog.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, you can't have 4 substitutions. So
it's getting silly.
Yeah.
Concord.
Extra time, of course. Yeah, they've brought on Concord, right? And it's taken up the entire pitch, okay? And it's churning it up. And you can't even keep up with it. But even if you could keep up with it, you don't want to get sucked into one of the jet engines.
Paul
Lambert,
Lambert jumps on and says, if my players are going to get bullied by Concord, I'm not having that.
And the Concord is so fast that, like when it used to go to New York, it arrives before it left.
Yeah. With Phil Collins on board.
And uses the nose cone to power a header into the bottom corner. I'll say, do you know what? Fair enough.
You've got to be asking questions at defence.
Can I just make it absolutely clear to everyone listening at home?
The Concord was not in the starting
None
lineup.
of that happened. They were playing against human beings in the first few minutes.
They did concede early though, so that did happen. But yes, very, very piss poor Ipswich.
Timo Pukki looks a great player, though.
He does look
Didn't do
great
much
player.
at Celtic, and they signed him from Bromley after a good season or two, and now he looks brilliant. He looks such a good Championship striker.
He does indeed. Well, Norwich are top, of course, because Leeds drew 1-1 with Middlesbrough. Now, the good news is Jack Clarke has been released from hospital after taking ill during the match, after he was subbed off. He was quite worrying scene. He was stretchered off. He's been given oxygen, but he's okay. But that delayed the match by about 10-15 minutes. So Leeds' equaliser was actually scored in the 11th minute of injury time.
101st minute equaliser.
Yeah, crazy.
I always sort of think like with like kids who are like they're 18 years old for crying out loud. Like, I was quite ill when I was like 18. We're like
you're not a good sample study.
I'm not a very great sample study, but like you are still growing at that point. So like there's chemicals floating around your body. It's not an idea. I remember
you did eat chocolate mice for dinner.
I used to eat frozen sausages.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But I remember sort of like going to university. I was in and out of hospital. They thought I had meningitis, I had lumbar punctures, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think
but I'm all right now, guys.
Okay, I mean,
could have been frozen sausage related.
Is any of this relevant to Jack Clarke?
Well, he's just very young and teenagers.
You are not a medical practitioner.
I completely forgot why we were talking about this. But I was fascinated.
I feel that a young prospect at Leeds who's probably
why don't I have fingernails? Why did they fall off?
Just because you spent a lot of time in hospital doesn't make you a doctor.
No,
right? That's fine. We have to make that clear.
Or a promising young professional footballer.
Yeah, I appreciate you trying to wrestle it back, but I want to know more about the frozen sausage thing. Like, why did you do that?
He used to eat outside, sit next to his freezer when he was a kid, and just eat the sausages straight out the freezer.
Well, that was when I was about
secret.
That was when I was about 11. Well, I didn't announce it. Twitter didn't exist. Hey guys, just eating a frozen sausage.
No, but I mean, did your parents know that you were in hospital all the time because you were maybe
where
eating
are the
frozen
sausages gone?
That's not why I was in hospital.
Wow,
right,
that was later on.
Wasn't it though?
You can't get meningitis from frozen sausages.
I
am a medical practitioner.
Please.
So you're going over to the fridge going, oh, I'll have myself a meat ice pool.
Yeah.
And
that was when I was a younger boy.
Oh, why do you two hate each other?
If anybody is listening
can I just say,
please do not eat frozen sausage.
To be semi-serious, the club have said that Jack Clarke's going to undergo some further tests and he won't train for the rest of the week, but apparently he seems much better. So he's an 18-year-old kid. I think there is a bit of truth.
At the time of recording, we should state for the record that it's all's well there.
But I think there is a little bit of truth in what Pete was saying, is that, we have seen, I can't remember which team he played for, but there was a teenager a few years ago who kept vomiting before he came on because he kept drinking so much water because he was so nervous, and it took him a while to work out that was what was happening. Yeah. So it could be a number of different things. I have to say, just going back to matters on the pitch, Marcus, I don't know if you saw this. Randolph in the Middlesbrough goal made an amazing double save at 1-0, and I felt really sorry for him when they equalised.
I think he's a slightly underrated keeper.
He's always looked decent whenever I've seen him.
He would look at home in the Premier League. Well, we've seen him, I think, in the Premier League before.
Keepers are fun like that, aren't they? Because they can make the step up. It feels...
Well, that's right.
It's not as big a...
Well, I think for someone mentioned Joe Hart earlier. I think Joe Hart, if I was him and his agent, he's not the number one at Burnley, and might not even be the number two if they get all the keepers. Yeah, Pope's there. I go to a sort of a decent established championship side like a Derby or a Middlesbrough.
The money would be pretty much the same. Exactly, just be a jobber, just float around the championship, get people promoted,
or go to China.
Or go to
China.
Yeah, you go there.
But a vital equaliser for the Leeds nonetheless, because that would have been a bit of a damning result, and Norwich going top of the league, and we know what Leeds the results haven't been good of late. So away to a side who don't concede many goals at all, unless
Sheffield United were almost top of the league for a couple of
Oh
hours.
My goodness, what a comeback from Villa! Incredible. I mean, Sheffield United 3-0 up. Billy Sharp scored his hat-trick. He's scored 101 goals now for Sheffield United. Yeah. He just turned 33 as well. They would have gone top of the league, albeit temporarily, but they would have been in there. But to concede on the 82nd, 86th and 94th, gutting for Sheffield United.
I was on the road at the time, and sometimes we carry the post-match interview. And do you remember when Sheffield United were knocked out of the cup and Wilder was absolutely fuming? Yeah. He said, we were fifth best today.
Yeah, that's right.
The players were booed off, and I felt like joining the fans, and they deserved it. Yeah. And I thought we were going to hear Wilder go crazy, but I didn't actually get a chance to catch the post-match interview, so I'm not sure what he said. But I presume, given that Aston Villa were being booed at the time when they were 3-0 down, I presume Dean Smith was absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy game. At that point, Sheffield United were top of the league because obviously they were playing Friday night.
Well, they're cruising. 3-0 up and cruising.
And I was saying, what a testament to the job Chris Wilder's done there. Yeah. I mean, he was brilliant in his previous job as well. But they're still amongst it. Only 5 points off the top.
But it is really gutting for just.
It's going to hold their momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was nearly the same at QPR. They were 4-0 down on McLaren's men against Birmingham City. Che Adams scored a hat-trick for Birmingham.
He's a good player.
QPR staged an amazing comeback. They scored just before half-time, got a couple, and then they missed a penalty in injury time.
Yeah.
It was saved by Lee
such a
Kemp.
bad penalty as
I
well,
know,
wasn't it?
but they haven't got themselves into that position. Oh, gutting.
I was at Loftus Road a week ago, and
Talking about Portsmouth.
yeah, QPR were terrible against Portsmouth. They beat them. They didn't need to be any good. And then I saw them 4-0 down at home, and I was thinking, how bad are Portsmouth?
Portsmouth have thrown away the automatic promotion.
They have. But can I just say, Che Adams is a really good player. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that him staying in January saved Birmingham's season, because they're on a bit of a march, and they've got a chance of forcing their way into the playoffs, of course. And Jutkovic has weighed in with a few goals, but really no one else scores in great number apart from him.
Yeah.
And if you look at the goals that made up his hat-trick in that game against QPR, one's from distance into the bottom corner. One, he runs off the shoulder from the other side of the pitch and scores. The third one's a poacher's sort of rebound. Scores different types of goals. He looks like a real player. He's only 22 as well, and they got him for, I think they got him for a couple of million. So he's an absolute. We've seen strikers in the Championship go for big money. You know? People like Scott Hogan and all the rest of it. So a really, really good player. I think he's got a bright future. I really do.
Yeah. Portsmouth are throwing it away.
Terrible, yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Did you see
Luton and Barnsley are on the march. They're on the march.
Paul Scholes, another one
Oldham.
from the class of '92 line to go into coaching. It's probably
It's not an illustrious
a
management.
resounding success.
Paul, did you see that outrageous piece of skill from that Plymouth player against Portsmouth?
My goodness.
I can't even work out what he did.
The Irish guy.
You sure it was deliberate then?
It was 100% deliberate.
It was sensationally good.
Yeah, he's running down the
It
left
was
wing.
Ronaldinho-esque.
We'll share the video on our Twitter for those who haven't seen it at Football Ramble. But he's running down the left wing. He lets the ball go behind him, and he flicks it. It's just impossible to describe. Yeah, Pompey are having a mare. They're setting fire to their season. They're probably going to finish about 12th.